Hello and welcome to another edition of the Moving Iron Podcast. This podcast is proudly provided by Axon, helping dealers move more iron for almost 100 years. Find out more at axontire.com. Axon was started almost 100 years ago out of a passion for keeping agriculture moving. It's that same passion that drives them today. With a vision for a better experience for both farmer and dealer, they set out to create a better way to move more iron. When you partner with Axon, you get immediate access to a full range of products and solutions designed to meet the complex needs of today's grower. Axon carries all major brands and sizes of tires, wheels, and tracks. From custom colors and sizes to fully customized wheels, you can have the solution for virtually any problem today's farmer is trying to solve. To find more or become an Axon dealer, please visit axontire.com.
Moving iron in the 21st century. Hard-working people working hard for you and me. Moving iron, time and time again. Through the years you'll find us here. Moving iron.
Hello and welcome to Moving Iron Podcast number 217. This edition of the Moving Iron Podcast is brought to you by Axon Tire, helping dealers move more iron for the past 100 years. For more information, go to axontire.com. Also, if you're interested in see what's happening in the auction market, check out TractorZoom's Iron Comps. A great place to track and see what's happening there. If you're interested in using Iron Comps after you see all the great information that you can mine from that, use Moving Iron at checkout and you'll get yourself a super sweet discount. This week, like normal, I've got Aaron Fintel with me, and we're going to talk a little bit about what's happening in the combine market. So we've both made some predictions, I guess, best way to put that, threw out some numbers there based on what we've seen happening in the combine market. The last couple of months have seen some big moves in the combine market, and I think there is some information that we're going to share here that could show that the used combine market is I think set to take off in one direction or the other sharply, right? We've had a couple data points come up that we're going to share that's going to show either we're going to take off and run and really start depleting that inventory, or we are setting up a building of used equipment, of used combines, and going. So first and foremost, got to bring in the man, the myth, the legend, the one and only Aaron Fintel. How are you, sir?
Sup?
Yeah. That's
Good, right. Man. How are you?
Doing all right, man. So we got this, recording this on Memorial Day weekend and getting ready for all the festivities there. So want to give a shout out to all of the veterans out there and more importantly, all the folks that gave the ultimate price for freedom. And my hat's off to you and my thoughts and my prayers. So thanks for everything that everyone's doing out there on the military front. So thank you very much for what you're doing. Data is one of those things that you can't really ignore, right? Once you start kind of putting it out there and you're doing the math and you're building the spreadsheet and you're making the graph and those kind of things, what you thought was happening, maybe not always true, right?
Right.
So once a month we sit down, we talk about what's going on in the market as far as we see what's on the internet listings and those kind of things. So I think that we've done a good job of presenting that, but we never actually, on the combine front and tractors and those kind of things, which we're going to start doing more of, we haven't really put that actually out on a graph and really graphed that out to see what that looks like. So doing so, Aaron and I both saw a couple things there that kind of stood out to me and kind of shocked us a little bit, I would say, right? So obviously, when you look back, so today we're talking strictly combines, nothing else. No, we're not going to talk about tractors or anything like that, but just straight up combines. So there's no doubt about it that...
That's a shocker.
Isn't it a shocker? Yeah, we really do that. Yeah. One of the things that we have talked about quite a bit is that how in March and April both, no matter what it was, there was a lot of volatility and a lot of things had taken off and really grown to be either a lot have come off or a lot have been put back on the marketplace. Right. So one of the things that we did here is I graphed out the hour ranges. So here are the hour ranges that we're going to look at for combines: 0 to 300, 301 to 500, 501 to 1,000, 1,001 to 1,500, 1,501 to 2,000, 2001 to 2500, 2501 to 3000, 3001 to 3500, and 3501 to 4000, and then anything over 4,000 hours, right? So those are the hours that we track, and how many machines are in that segment.
And that's engine hours.
Those are engine hours, yeah, very important. Very important to understand. Okay, so I went back to September of 20, and I charted this out all the way through April of this year. So that's the most current data that we've had. So, Aaron, when I showed you this graph, before I even brought it to your attention, like in your mind, what did you think would be all by far and away the most volatile? Everyone wants one. We're selling the hell out of these hour range of combine.
You mean what machine? Well, because the reason I asked, because when you showed me that chart, it's completely backwards of what I thought.
Right.
What I thought it was.
Right.
So, are you saying which did I think would be the best combine? We would be the most proud of, or which one are we like?
Where,
oh
I guess,
my God.
what hour range do you think we'd see the most action in?
The most action period?
Yeah, before you looked at the graph.
Probably in that sub 500 sub.
Right. And I'm saying,
So if you're sub 500 sub, you're for sure,
Yeah.
you're in the three.
Yeah.
I would the 3 to 5 engine.
Yeah.
Just because since we're talking engine,
You're talking somewhere between 200 and 300 separator hours.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've been exactly the same way. And the reason that I thought that is because every auction that we have watched up to this point, all the combines that are on there that have sold that had less than 300 separator hours on them, even less than 400 separator hours, brought huge, ridiculous money.
Right.
So I'm thinking like, okay, well, man, they're starting to see this flow of late model, low-hour combines to come on the marketplace, and lo and behold, since September, if you take a look at this graph I've got, and I'll figure out how to share this with everybody on the world here, so I can kind of show you what it is. But if you take a look at the 300 hour range machines since September, there's not been one giant spike up or down.
Not at all.
It's been fairly flat. Right. In October through November into December, there was a bit of a dip there where a bunch of machines came off. There were a lot of auctions in that time frame, so that makes a lot of sense. But by December, we had kind of right back up to actually above where the October number was. January dipped down a little bit, but in February gained them all back. March kind of went up a little bit, and there's a slight peak down into April.
But you know what's funny about that? Okay, so you look at your high and low numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Your peak and valley there on the 0 to 3.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, that's where your volatilities. Because look, September to October is completely flat too.
Yeah.
Just like the other side.
Yep.
That's not a custom machine. Ever.
No, it's not.
That's just either they have 3 of them with those hours,
right,
or it's a medium to smaller sized farm,
right,
that has 300 or less engine hours.
Right. Yep.
That's when they do their combine,
right,
after harvest.
Yep.
That's why they show up and leave.
Yep.
At that time, right?
Yep.
Now, as we can totally see the deadest period on here, which is first of the year to now, will be completely opposite once you get into that 5 to 1,000.
Yeah.
Because that's where all them custom machines are at.
Yep.
And that's January to March.
January to March.
Every day in one.
Right. Yep. So that market to me, I mean, I really thought that, because you got to remember the price of corn shot up on that January report, right? Price of corn shot way up in January, and the supply started to climb a little bit, and it's kind of come off a little bit. So, but also that being said, that's when new deliveries are starting to land, right? That January, February, March time frame, you get a lot more machines start to land then. So you would expect to see things come up a little bit more than what you had. But no, where you really start to kind of see some real action is in that 301 to 500 engine hour, which would be that 200 to 400 separator hour combine.
Right.
And that is when you start seeing the volatility really start to kick in, right? So if you go back and you're mirroring what happens from September, October, you see a downward decline. You see a sharp decline in November again. A lot of machines got sold at auction in November. It spikes back up in December to basically where it was in September timeframe. You see it, then it starts to knock back off. So December to January, corn starts shooting up. A lot of guys are either doing one of two things, right? So on this chart, when the number is positive, right, that means that the month over month you had a decline. When it's negative, right, month over month you had an increase. December, you took a bunch of machines off, obviously, right? From November to December, you took a lot of machines off, a lot of auctions, no doubt about that. January, from December to January, you put a bunch of machines back on. December, January, you start to see that delivery of machines. But the really odd thing about this is from January to February to March, we took a lot of machines off of the marketplace.
Yeah.
Every month was bigger than the month before, right? So January to February, more machines came off. February to March, even more machines came off. And then from March to April, we put a bunch of machines back on the marketplace, almost to the point where we pretty much gave back plus some to the January number. January, you know what I mean? So there's more combines on the market now. Now I want to say there's not more combines on the market now, but there is more. Basically for every machine that we put on and that we took off in March, we put them back in April.
Right.
So we kind of had a wash there, so of sorts. That same pattern, the exact same pattern, but it gets more volatile. Right?
Crazy volatile.
When you go for up to that,
this is the highest volatility on the graph by far.
Yeah. So when you get to that 501 to 1,000 engine hours, which would be your 400 to 700 hour combine, right? Separator combine.
Yep.
So in that range. The volatility on this graph at this point it's the highest that we have, and it is this is the one that I have I don't know if I have to say I have concern about, but this shows you where everybody wants to buy and everybody wants to trade in, right? So you go back to September. September to October is pretty flat. It wasn't much of a change there. Again, that November auction period, we saw a bunch come off, put a bunch back on. Put a bunch on in November because it's negative, right?
Right.
Put a bunch on in November. They took a bunch off in December, right? Because November, December, obviously, we saw a big auction spike. We took we added a bunch in January, which you would expect, newer combines hitting, right? So that's going to happen. So from January to March, though, we're talking like 300 machines.
Yeah,
came off,
it looks like there was none.
Yeah.
They all sold.
Right. But for everything that we gained from taking off from January to March, we gave back plus some in April. Okay. So
it did it in half.
Yeah.
If you look at the climb, the descent is in half the time. Literally half the time.
Right. Yeah.
If you had a protractor and a compass,
right, and you want to make a circle,
and you put your laptop lid or screen down, you could probably find out exactly what angle that is.
Yeah.
And it would be less than.
That's definitely
90.
not an obtuse triangle. It's very acute, right?
Oh, it's acute as a button.
So, and then the rest of all the rest of these all mirror that exact same pattern, exactly almost to the graph line. There's nothing here that shows that there's not. From a trend line perspective, I tell you what. There is a bunch of machines that got taken off between February and March, and a bunch of machines that got put back on between March and April. And
thank you, Corn.
Yes, no kidding. Okay, so now let's start talking about trend line development. What does that look like? So trend lines, to me, when I look at this chart right
here, the biggest point is everything other than the 0 to 3 has some volatility to it.
Right.
But by far the biggest players, both ways, is the 3 to 5, or not the 3 to 5, the 5 to 1 and the 1 to 15.
Yeah. Yeah, those two lines,
they mirror each other, and they are drastic.
They really are. So it tells me two things. One is that 500 to 1500 engine hour combine is two things. It is a sought after machine, and it is a machine that sought after in the fact that people want to buy it, and a lot of people have them.
Yep.
Because you can see like the new machines that are getting swapped out, either they're buying new or they're buying that 0 to 300, that 300 to 500 range, whatever that is that they're buying. That's where the action's at right now. Either you're trading that in or you're wanting to buy that, and that shows you, which makes sense. That's such a big. Those two things are such a big dramatic error. But if you can jump down here and take a look at like the 2,500 hour to 3,000 hour machine, again, very similar curve. Graph points on the graph here, very similar. If you look at those and the way they flow and the way they move up and down, there is that from January to February is not nearly as sharp as that upper end is, but February to March we took a bunch off, and then again from March to April we put a bunch back on, which tells me that there's still a lot of people that are trading these machines in.
But real quick, the 500 to 1,500. Let's talk about that a minute.
Okay.
Where you have that much volatility, right? Mm-hmm. We got rid of a ton of them in March, and a bunch of them came back in April. Mm-hmm. Do you think? Because keep in mind, this is one major website's data, right? Is where this is mined from. So, or their listings. I sell a combine to wholesale ABC. Mm-hmm. We take it down. They put it up.
That's a good point. But in order for that to happen, you're saying that
a lot of it is done end of month, beginning of month.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that to some extent.
I'm just curious. Yeah. I'm asking you because you're the brains, I'm the non-funny sidekick.
So, I guess in my opinion that we would see, if that were the case and that was going on, that same volatility would be across all the way through. Like you'd see a very similar pattern. It'd be an up and a down, an up and a down, an up and a down.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean? Like you'd see that.
I'm just thinking that does follow what March. Case in point, that's when the wholesale side of combines really start ramping up. Okay.
Yeah.
Both export, domestic, everything.
Yep.
So that's. I just wondered if it kind of mirrors that action. I just wondered if that had any play in it at all. So
yeah, I've been thinking about this a little bit and trying to figure out like why would this be happening and kind of what we see happening there. The amount of machines that we put back on the marketplace, because there's like none of these. So you would think that, okay, cool. So we put a bunch of these machines back on the market, these 500-hour machines back on the market or whatever. You would think that there'd be something else in there,
right,
that would show the same thing. Like one of these other things. Okay, so in the 0 to 500, or the 500 to 1,000 hour machine, we put a bunch back on. You would think maybe that the 0 to 300 there'd be a big spike where we took a bunch off.
Right.
You don't see that, right?
Yeah, I got it.
So maybe, just maybe, there could be guys that have, and I'm not saying like this is across the board, but some of the things that could be driving some of this is they're trading a combine in on something other than a combine.
Which we've seen.
You know what I mean? Like they might be saying, like, you know what, I got two combines. I'm going to buy a new combine, but I want to get a tractor. So I'm going to take my combine and get a tractor, right? New 4-wheel drive or a planter or whatever.
Right. And a lot of guys do have that 12, 13, 14 they bought at an auction.
Right.
To have that second combine. Now they're thinking, oh, well, we got a little cash we can play again.
Yeah.
Let's get rid of that on that, and we'll get 2 of those on that one. And
yeah, because you would think, kind of like what I said, like there should be none of these should be mirroring each other.
Right.
There should be one of those hour segments in there where
you should have some
going down.
Yeah, big opposites.
Yeah, like if there's one going down, one should be going up.
Yeah, say your 3 to 5 should be a boatload off,
right?
And the 5 to 1 got them, right?
Yeah. So,
and then and it just every other thing.
Right.
You should have it should look like a saw blade, not like the like Mount Everest.
There you go.
In the plains.
Right on. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There you go. So to kind of give you an idea real quick of what this looks like, kind of the numbers we're talking about. So in that 0 to 300 hour range in March, 29 machines were taken off. In April, 24 were put back on. 300 to 500, 167 were taken off, and 129 were put back on. The 500 to 1,000, 355 were taken off in March. 362 were put back on. So that's, all these are about a wash, right? So even you have like the 1,000 to 1,500 hour range, you got 292 in March, 321 put back on in April, right? So it's just odd, you know what I'm saying? Like that, there's a complex that, everything is pretty much a wash. So whatever we gained, we lost. Whatever we lost, we gained, right? So it's one of those things where when you look at this and you split this out, this makes me think, and I don't know, I'm guessing here. I don't have any hard data to go back and show these kind of things or whatever else, but with the number of tractors that have come off the marketplace, just a constant, every single month has just been better than the month before. Thousands of tractors have come off. It's got to make you believe that other things are being traded in to get a new tractor.
That could be.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For tractors to have that sharp of a move. Now, some guys will buy a tractor and not trade anything in. Like, that's not uncommon, right? That's not uncommon at all. But it's very.
And if you guys aren't trading tractors in,
right?
That's why. That's another reason that number is plummeting like that,
right?
But okay, so they're not trading tractors in. That maybe they're trading their spare combine in, or whatever in. So your tractor's going down, combines are coming up. Nothing else is coming up like that,
right?
Right?
Yeah, I think last month when we talked about everything.
So if I'm a farmer, and they know right now, that's all anybody talks about is how crazy tractor values are on the auction. Right? I've had guys buy tractors and say, no, I'm putting it on an auction. I ain't going to trade it in. Like, are you silly?
Right.
And 1 year ago, if you would tell a guy, oh, I don't want that, put it on an auction.
Yeah, they would look at you like
they would not be very impressed, right?
Not at all.
So you have that going on, but he's not going to do that with a combine.
No.
Because obviously I don't mean offense to anybody, but a combine's a combine. Especially if he's once he hits the 500 plus, there's lots of numbers, right?
Yeah.
So he's not going to gamble with that on an auction. He's going to trade it because we will.
Right. That's a good point. Yeah. That's a real good point.
Because I haven't had anybody want to do anything like that. I've had some guys that want to clean house. You know.
So if you go back to the September of 20, 11,467 combines were on the marketplace, right? Listed. May of 21, 11,275 combines are on the market.
That's ridiculous.
The difference between, but in the middle of that, there's been some pretty big, not real big fluctuations either, though.
You are talking in thousands, but when you're 11.4 to 10.9 to 10.8 to 11.4 to 11.4 to, you're not. It's not like you're 11.5 to 8,000 to 3,000. You know.
Yeah, look in November. November is the biggest mover so far yet.
Yep.
627 combines came off of the market in November. And by the time we got back to April, we put them all back on. You know what I mean? So it's just been a very checkered run. You know what I mean? I guess is the best way to put it.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just been so I guess moving forward to what I think about combines now, has my position changed from my previous thing that there's going to be people that are going to want to make moves on combines between now and harvest? Absolutely not. I still think combines are going to be. I think everyone's kind of got their ducks in a row going into planting season. Planting season's over now, and now they're going to start making those end of the year decisions. You know, am I going to get that combine? Am I going to get the tractor? Am I going to update my planter? All those kind of things now are starting to kind of play into that.
Everybody and the shocks wore off.
Right.
Okay. It's not this.
Yeah.
I went to bed with 350 corn and I woke up with 650 corn.
Right. Yeah.
Now we're living in it day to day where, you know, God bless, don't turn the radio down because the markets have changed $1.
Right.
You know, that's the world we're in too. But guys have months to to look, to plan, to kind of prepare for what they are buying, you know, into fall.
No, the thing about the corn market and grain markets in general that really kind of paint the picture of, you know, the guys that are out dictating the marketplace they see, oh, it's raining. Oh, we're going to get all this, whatever. That being said, yeah, we've got some rain, we got all this stuff, but there's still a lot of positive basis around.
Oh, yeah.
People are just like screaming, feedlots, ethanol plants, all these, you know, just your local co-op, everybody, elevators, those kind of things, they're screaming for corn. They don't have any corn, right?
Yep.
They don't have soybean. I mean, none of this stuff. But yet, they're like, oh, we're going to have this, whatever. Well, this shows you that even if you have this huge bumper crop, there's nothing out there right now to replace it.
Right.
And the demand is there where the supply isn't. So it's definitely
it's a good problem again.
Good problem to have. I mean, it is and it isn't, right? You know, like I was talking about with
I put $7 corn in sheep if you want to talk about problems.
Yeah, they have. Like I was talking with Sean Hack the other day. I mean, I kind of tongue in cheek made a joke about that we're going to see $14 corn, and the only reason I said that was because before I recorded with him, I read and heard about 5 or 6 different people say that we're going to have $14 corn, and I'm like, that just because of there's the supply issue. It's just where we're at, you know. And that's, I mean, that sounds awesome and great, but that's a whole
that would be such a disaster, man.
That'd be such a problem of epic proportions. It'd be real bad. So I don't know. I think the point I'm making here is that there's a lot of volatility leading up to this buying season that I think we're going to see in combines, and what that looks like. And I think as I, kind of have this, I don't know what you want to call it, this trend line that I'm following and what this looks like, I am very anxious to see what May looks like. I really think May we're going to take a bunch of combines off the thing. I think we're going to see like a W style, kind of recurve to that. So
I don't think it'd be near what the plummet was or the growth was.
Yeah.
If it would do that again, then hold on to your hat, man. We're in some crazy shit.
Yeah.
But I know it's got to be growth. Either that, or I'm the only person who sold combines all month because it was combines.
Yeah, which leads me to believe that we are in an area of time where we're going to start seeing that's the next domino to fall, right? That's the next domino to fall in this market that we're starting to see, and we're going to see this run on combines that we haven't seen in a really long time. Because now we're looking at, well, I want to upgrade my combine, but like everything else, it's, maybe next August I'll get my new combine.
Right. Yep. Exactly.
So I just, stay tuned. Here in a week or two, we'll sit down and go through the numbers again for the month and kind of what that looks like. But when I was messing with this, that graph really stuck out to me. Like,
Oh, absolutely.
It tells a different story than what we see here when we ramble off these numbers, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just you don't see the intermonth volatility because those hour ranges is where it's at, right?
Yeah.
There's each one of those little hour ranges makes such a big difference. But it will be interesting to see what happens with tractors, if that still kind of continues on the same path. Because we went, in tractors, remember, we went from 13 something to 1,000 something March to April, right?
Right.
So is May going to be 800 and something, right? Is there going to be that, or is it going to shoot back up, right? So I really think everything's going to kind of shoot back up. But if it's coming back down and combines take off, then we'll see something different there that would be taking place. So
Absolutely.
Anything else you want to add on that?
Not that I can think of, man.
Okay. All right. Well, good stuff. Obviously, we tell you the deal of the week, but the lot is what we have. So if folks want to reach out to you, Aaron, and get more information about what we got or what some deals you might have working out there are, what's the best way to do that?
Call me or text me, 308-760-1193. Or I'm on the Twitterverse as well, at Aaron Fintel on there.
Right on. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Moving Iron LLC. Also go to MovingIronLLC.com, and that is where you will find all the latest editions of the Moving Iron podcast, as well as blog posts I've written, and also all the information for the Moving Iron Summit. So if you want to have these kinds of conversations that we're having right now about where the market's headed, what we see happening, what are some drivers behind all that, check that out. Check out the Moving Iron Summit, Nashville, Tennessee, September 15th through the 17th. It's a great networking opportunity. It's also a great place to listen to some really good speakers talk about stuff that we talk about on here they actually understand and know what they're talking about. So it'll be well worth your time. So check that out. You need more information about that, you can email me at MovingIronPodcast at MovingIronPodcast.com, or you can also go through the website at the Contact Me page, and it'll come to my email as well. So with that, I am Casey Seymour with Aaron Fennell. Let's go into some iron, folks. Out.
You want to have a meaningful competitive advantage to help sell more equipment. Whether you represent the sales, parts, or management department of an implement dealership, there's a surprising amount of complexity when it comes to tire, wheel, and track technology. Let Axon worry about that so you can get back to supporting your customers. Axon has leveraged years of experience to create a streamlined process that gives you a proven path to help today's grower and sell more equipment. The roots of their organization go back almost 100 years to the invention of the rubber tractor tire. Supporting agriculture is the number one driver of Axon, from product development through sales and service. To find more or become an Axon dealer, head over to agmarkets.com.
Moving iron in the 21st century. Hard-working people working hard for you and me. Moving iron time and time again. Through the years you'll find us here. Moving iron.